So I just want to put a couple of things up on the board, some ideas that you had about, we've got these 3 different books, all coming from the same time period. And the question asks, what themes or general messages about life or humanity do you think these 3 books convey? So what are some, even just like one-word answers that all 3 of these have in common? What were you able to come up with? Aaron?
The destruction of humanity?
Okay. Okay, good. What else? Lauren, do you?
Fear in American citizens.
And yeah, and what are some things underneath that? What are some specific things that people are afraid of based on what kind of literature is coming about and based on what you already know about this time period? Paige?
Like the world ending as a result of like decisions that we've previously made.
Yeah. a downwards effect, right? Okay, and I think that everybody has this, we always kind of have this fear, and if you think about, all of the different movies and books that we have still now about, the end of the world, and zombie apocalypse, and vampires, and, the world catching on fire from global warming and things like that. We sort of have our own set of concerns that we tend to bring up in our art forms. So, good. What are some other major common things here, Aaron?
1, I don't think I've ever seen an end of the world vampire movie, and 2...
Well, not necessarily together, but vampires and end of the world.
I guess.
Okay.
But one word that came to mind when reading these was the future, basically.
Yeah.
What could come to be.
Yes. Good. What else, Olivia?
Hardships from the war.
Anything else major from our day?
Like their homes were taken from them.
Yes. Good. Lauren and then Maddie.
Just like change in general, which some American citizens didn't want.
Yeah, this in itself, whether it's positive or negative, is usually scary for most people. Any kind of change, right? Good. What else, Maddie?
I think about the last 2, like just everything that you know being taken away from it.
Yeah. Good. Absolutely. Okay. And then the follow-up question to that was, let's see here, something to the effect of, okay, yeah, so it says, how might readers' interpretations of these messages today differ from readers' interpretations during the Cold War? So someone who had lived during the 1950s or early 1960s, how would they have felt about this literature, and how do you feel about it? I know for myself, I kind of, a few things I sort of smirked, right? How did you feel when you were reading about this, Holly?
Well, I was thinking that like the people that were reading this back then were in that time period, so they're like thinking about it, and this is only like putting more fuel to their fire, like the fear of the citizens.
Yeah.
Like, it's just making them more scared about like what's to come in the future and everything. But now that we think about it, like people are excited for the future. Like when you talk to people, like, oh yeah, we have so much new technology coming out, and everyone's not as scared as what is to come, and they don't think the world is going to end.
Okay.
I don't know.
That's good. That's a good. I'm glad that you have that positive perspective on it. What are some things that you guys, stemming from that question, what are some things that you look forward to either in your own personal future or in the future in general for humanity? And then maybe what are some things that you are afraid of, considering what's happening with our world since you've been alive? Any thoughts on that? Did this maybe spark anything for you to think about, Lauren?
I was looking for my current event the other day, and I found an article about how Google has made a driverless car,
Mm-hmm.
and it's kind of freaky because it's saying that you
Yeah.
can just do your work or text, and then it'll just take you wherever you want to go. And I'm I don't think I could ever trust that.
It would be hard to trust that, yeah.
I don't know. It just
Yes.
seems really weird.
Huh, yeah, that is definitely a sort of a stereotypical futuristic thing, you know? Sort of one step underneath a flying car or something like that, which people always used to kind of joke about, you know, several decades ago, and there'll be flying cars and all this stuff. Other thoughts, things that you look forward to in the future, or things that you fear? Paige?
I guess one thing that has been coming up is about Vladimir Putin, his threat to want to start World War III.
Yeah.
And so, I guess personally I've been kind of skeptical about all that, and we've had stuff like this before.
Right.
And I guess recently I haven't, because there's nothing fighting, I guess, in America, and nothing's ever really directly affected me from war.
Sure.
I guess I have a hard time getting worked up about that, or being worried just because it's not I don't know, it's never been a part of my life before.
Right.
So
Right.
I don't know, I guess something interesting to think about, that there's the concept or prospect of that possibly there's something erupting from it. Whether or not that'd be World War III, that's kind of,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, absolutely. Well, and you're right, and there's the possibility of lots of destructive things
Right.
happening. You know, every volcano in the world could set off at some point, despite our calculations, but, you know, I guess you kind of have to decide, do I want to live in fear that way,
Yeah.
you know, unless there's something specific that tells me otherwise. Of course, I say that, and I'm a very worrisome person, so that's, but yeah, I know what you mean there. Aaron, you had your head up, what were you gonna say?
Nuclear devastation.
Yeah, and we're beginning to get into these fears of nuclear devastation during this time period, and then it will kind of escalate as we build, you know, on our technologies, and as we explore. Space exploration was sort of another theme that popped up here, particularly with this, you know, the Martian Chronicles, and then the body snatchers were these strange pods that, you know, we don't know where they came from, what universe or whatnot, so, yeah, good. What else? Marnay?
I think because we have a lot of advancement in technology and creating images of a human in a robotic form, I think because of the Terminator, whenever
Yeah.
there's a story that's and there's this robot that can have unconscious thought,
Right.
everyone gets freaked out because they're it's Terminator.
Right.
We think robots are gonna take over the world.
That thought has occurred to me.
That's it. Yeah. Yeah, it's a little scary, I think, anytime when we can attribute any sort of human action or human emotions or thoughts to something that's typically, you know, inanimate, like a rope, you know, a piece of metal or something like that. So, that's interesting as well. Maddie and then Olivia.
I feel with all the technology and stuff, we're kind of shutting ourselves off from everybody. So we're just really focused on ourselves with I don't know, with texting and I don't know, personal communications going down. So I kind of worry that, I don't know, not like if WALL-E will happen, but
Sure.
I don't know, just we need to, I guess, I don't know, talk to people more.
Refocus on
Yeah.
talking with people. Yeah, Holly?
To go along with the
I'm sorry, Olivia.
Sorry.
I skipped over you back there. Go ahead. Go ahead, since you.
Just to go along with what Maddie was saying, I feel you receive less and less letters every day, and it's sad because I don't know, I like receiving letters because it means that person took their personal time to write you something and they put, you know, their heart and soul into it, and I think
Sure.
there's something a lot more meaningful than just a text message or a phone call. Like how some people break up over text message.
Right.
So impersonal.
We've discussed that in here before. Yeah,
it's
how,
just-
what's the appropriate context in which to use, you know, technology for communicating. And Olivia, what were you gonna share?
It seems these days, sci-fi movies don't really scare us. Where back then,
sci-fi was really like a horror film to them.
It was, yeah, I think that was. I mean, I think even back then, most people would, pods, but I'm sure that it did. I'm sure that it did scare people. Yeah, I think you're right. Good. So besides, what are some other ways that, or some other reasons why maybe, present day people wouldn't take these books as seriously as people maybe living during that time period? For example, what do we are? Oh, Aaron, go ahead. You had your hand.
I was just gonna say, in today's world, maybe it would sound a little illogical in a way.
Yeah. In what ways?
I'm not really sure. I just thought it kind of just I mean, personally to myself, when I think about like the Godzilla movies or some of those giant animal creatures that are like in those movies, like Dino Shark and stuff like that, I just think I can't really imagine something like that actually existing outside of a movie.
Right. Sure. That makes sense. I kind of thought about, this the Martian Chronicles, and how, in the book, a section of, this group of human beings decides to go live on Mars, obviously because the Earth is coming to an end and it's being attacked and whatever. And I thought, well, now, in present day, we have done so much research in space and so much research about like the physical atmosphere of Mars, that we know that it's illogical because people can't physically live on Mars, right? We know that to be true now, but at this point in history, people weren't sure. I mean, we hadn't really gone out and explored it yet. We were just beginning to kind of explore the moon, and it wouldn't be until the 60s that we had our first moon landing. So I think that's another reason why we, having the information that we know now, that gives us a different perspective than the people who are living for that time period. Any other ideas about this second question here? Just my other question was about, let's see here. Can you think of some of our present day science fiction novels or movies that you think might seem silly to someone in the future? Or maybe that seems silly to you now. Olivia?
Like when I watch E.T., his because it was an older movie, like the quality isn't like what movies are now.
Yeah.
So especially when they watch it in the future, they're probably gonna think it's like funny looking.
Oh, sure. Yeah, that's a good point. The graphics, just even the graphics are seem funny to us, right? What else, Lauren?
Just because this one is already kind of a joke, just like Twilight, everyone jokes about how
Sure.
in the future they're gonna laugh at us. So I mean,
Yeah.
we're gonna go vampires,
Yeah.
what were they
Right. And the obsession with vampires and werewolves, that's been around for a while, right? Because there's been different versions of Dracula that have, come up throughout, really since the last century, 2 centuries ago. So what else, Aaron?
The TV show Alf, which is
Yeah.
like a little furry alien.
Oh, yeah, definitely. Right. And where was Alf from? I'm trying to remember the name of the
A
planet.
planet called Melmac.
Melmac, that's right, yeah, and liked to eat cats. I mean, I know Elf was supposed to be it was a comedy, it was a sitcom, but, but even so, people might think it's kind of, just the character of Elf and, what he looked like would be kind of funny for people, so.
Even if we do find aliens in the future.
Yeah, I think also, Star Trek is kind of funny to us now, especially if you watch some of the older episodes, and you see, you know, what the future is like. Something that's interesting to do is to talk to anybody who's older, your parents or your grandparents, about, you know, ask them, when you were my age, what did you think right now would look like? I was just talking to my dad about this the other day, and I said, what did you know, when you were my age, did you think that, you know, is technology pretty much what you thought it would be? Or he's like, oh no, I thought we'd have flying cars and things like that already. He's like, frankly, I'm kind of disappointed. And I was like, sorry, my generation isn't, you know, like, we're only producing, you know, tiny phones, and, you know, you can only, you know, talk to people face to face in other countries. And sorry to let you down there, Dad. He's like, no, it's great, don't get me wrong. So, yeah, but that was funny. Okay, so I have a pretty funny clip for you from Invasion of the Body Snatchers. The picture that they have here is from the movie that was made in, I think, 1956 or something like that. And like most movies during that time, the acting is way overdone. And since it's supposed to be like a horror movie, it's pretty outrageous. All right.
I didn't know there was actually one.
Yeah, well, there is a new Godzilla movie coming out. I just saw the preview for it, yeah.
I didn't even know that story.
It's funny.
Like giant dinosaur.
Oh,
really?
You've never seen the
No,
original?
I would never see
I like
it.
I thought it was about a gorilla.
Well, it's not really a dinosaur. It's
What's the one about the
like
gorilla? The gorilla.
I've never
it's
seen
kind of
it.
like
I mean,
a giant lizard-like thing with these spikes on its back. It's like I mean, it's like a dark gray, I believe.
And we're just like,
Well, he can shoot lasers from his mouth.
Dinosaur.
remember that.
Or dragon.
Dragons breathe fire. Dinosaurs don't breathe anything. He shoots lasers.
He's had another question for you while we're waiting for this to load. Is there a mythical land or a science fiction world that you've seen in a book or a movie that you wish existed, that you wanted to live in?
What did you say?
Uh-huh.
Neverland.
Star Wars.
Oh yeah, and Star Wars. What if you like who would you be in Star Wars?
Yoda.
Oh. I could see that. I think.
Okay, I guess I don't wish this was real because it would be kind of scary, but like, if it was in the controlled environment that it was meant to be in, if Jurassic Park existed,
Oh,
so you
sure.
could like
yeah.
see
Yes,
dinosaurs,
that, I
but
thought that as
at
well.
the beginning phases when
Yeah.
it was controlled.
No, I kind of like the survival that they have on there.
You wouldn't want that in real life though, that
You can admire them from far away.
Yes.
I bet they can
Come on,
totally
they
do that
can.
too.
Probably.
Never know.
But it's okay, Jurassic Park, you can show us that that is not a good idea.
The horses are sexy.
Yeah.
It's like warning for future generations, but if possible, don't do it.
Alright.
Yeah, especially if they did something stupid like they did on the first or second Jurassic Park movie where they actually
I've
brought
only
it.
seen the first.
haven't seen
Oh
I haven't seen it.
I believe it's
either.
the second one.
Not necessarily.
They actually bring a T-Rex back to the mainland.
Kind of
Yeah.
Watch
Let's
it.
do it.
What's Oz?
Floppy fields would be nice, like
I
if you
love
were
that.
outside sleeping.
Wait, has anyone seen Divergent?
I think they're more
No,
cute.
Defiance, not Defiance.
Okay, so here we'll watch the trailer for it, and then I think there's one little clip of where the pods are actually hatching, and I'll try to find that one. It's pretty funny too.
I think I've heard of the Invasion of the Body Snatchers, but I've never seen it.
Yeah.
You silly fools are not crazy! Make them listen to me before it's too late! Listen to me. Please, listen. If you don't, if you won't, if you fail to understand, then the same incredible terror that's menacing me will strike at you!
What a good story.
No, you gotta get out of here, please! other world, spawned in the light years of space, unleashed to take over the bodies and souls of the people of our planet, bringing a new dimension in terror to the giant super scope screen.
Whatever intelligence or instinct it is that can govern the forming of human flesh and blood out of thin air is fantastically powerful, beyond any comprehension.
A cursed, dreadful, malevolent thing was happening to those he loved.
It isn't just an ordinary body, is it? I never saw one like it. It looks unused.
The sensational star discovery of The View from Poppy's Head. And now an undreamed of horror makes her life and love a vortex of fear.
Jack! Miles, where did they come from?
That's it, that's the pod.
Suddenly, while you're asleep, they'll absorb your minds, your memories. I don't want any part of it. You're forgetting something, Miles. What's that? You have no choice.
From city to city, an incredible hysterical panic spreads. As the unimaginable becomes real, the impossible becomes true.
Stop and listen! Stop and listen to me! Listen! Listen to me! You're not human! Can't you see? Everyone! They're here already! You're next!
Wow.
There was another version made in the 70s of Invasion of the Body Snatchers. This reminds me of, has anyone ever heard of The Blob before? Which was another, has anyone seen it before?
I haven't seen it, but I've heard of it.
The Blob is like kind of the same idea that you know, something's taken over the world and everybody has to keep running away from it, but it's just this big blob, it looks like Jell-O or something, and he's just, it's not he, it's just a thing that like rolls its way through town, and like you just see it like coming around the corner, and it's this big, yeah, it's this big blob and people are running away from it.
The fear of what we do not understand.
Let's see, okay, I guess we have to here.
Godzilla is not a dinosaur or a dragon, though. I rest my case.
Yeah, I think he's just sort of his own creation.
Thank you.
This scene is called The Pods Open.
Well,
Hope you didn't forget the steak.
I never forget anything.
Don't worry about him, he's completely house-broken.
I need a martini, Beck.
Onion or olive?
Doesn't matter. I want to pour it on the charcoal. I can't get this stuff to burn.
Oh, a martini isn't dry enough. I'll get you something to start it. For drinking purposes. You're looking ship-shape.
Thank you, sir.
Looks like a cat.
Here we are.
Yeah.
Jack! Jack!
They're like huge seed pods.
This must be the way that putty in my closet was formed.
Miles, where did they come from? I don't know. If they are seeds or seed pods, they must grow someplace on a plant, probably. And somebody or something wants this duplication to take place.
When they're finished, what happens to our bodies?
I don't know. When the process is completed, probably the original is destroyed or disintegrates. Now wait!
I take a dim view of watching my own destruction take place.
There isn't any danger until they're completely formed. We learned that last night at your house.
All right.
Your plankton.